Well, Canadians are anxiously checking their retirement funds this week as stock markets plunged Monday morning as the world reacts. U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs, fears of a potential recession grew in Canada, the U.S., and right around the globe. Here to tell us more about what you need to know is Ian Lee. He's a professor with Carleton University's Sprott School of Business. Great to see you again, Ian.
My pleasure.
I know in the past you've told us to shake it off. We need to shake certain things off, but really right now people feel as though the sky is falling on their retirement plans, on their bank accounts, on their purchasing power, really. What's your message this morning?
You're right. There's a lot of people very fearful, and I understand why. I really do. I do believe that we are going to, not just Canada, but there's a lot of signals and signs out there that show that different countries are going to do a deal with the States. The European Union announced yesterday they're willing to sit down and discuss a deal that is zero tariffs on both sides. 50 countries, different countries around the world, all the smaller countries, approached the U.S. government and said, look, we're willing to deal. The people that support Donald Trump, the billionaires, have already come out publicly and started to criticize him. So all of these signals or trends out there are showing, I think that we are revealing where the direction of this is going. There was a great line by the first chief economist. It was to Richard Nixon and Herb Stein, the father of the comedian Ben Stein. And he said, if something cannot go on forever, it won't. It will stop.
Fair.
In other words, this is unsustainable. It's unsustainable for the States. It's unsustainable for us. It's unsustainable for the Europeans. This is why I believe this is going to be resolved. And I don't mean in 5 or 10 or 20 years. I do think that Prime Minister Carney announced that the government of Canada is going to do a deal, negotiate after the election's over. So I think we should not be too, yes, be concerned, but don't believe that the sky is falling or that the country is coming to an end.
I want to ask a less pragmatic question. In what you've said, who's winning this trade war? Is what Donald Trump did, is it working? Is the U.S. not just going to be okay? Are they coming out on top?
Too soon to say because the data is very preliminary and we haven't seen it. But I mean, I'm not going to duck your question. I have said over and over, the U.S., because it's a fact, the U.S. is the largest economy on planet Earth, $30 trillion. And tons of studies have looked at, a trade fight between a very, very large economy and a very small economy. Guess what? The bigger guy wins.
Right.
If you've got a 6'8" lineman and he's hitting up against a 5'10" lineman, who do you think is going to win? Probably the 6'8" lineman that weighs 300 pounds.
Right.
And so the U.S. is so strong and it has so much power, and it's the reserve currency, and of course it has the Federal Reserve, and everybody wants to deal with the U.S. So it has a lot more power. At the same time, it is raising prices, it is tanking the stock market, and so there are checks and balances that are blowing back on Trump. So I didn't say it was costless.
Right.
I'm just saying I think that they will come out better. Look,
when the dust settles,
50 countries have already said, okay, we agree with you, we're going to compromise. The EU is talking that language too. China is going to be the outlier because they've said we're going to fight this all the way down the line to the end.
Do you foresee any dangers with that outcome being when it comes to the rhetoric that Donald Trump used to sell this tactic to the American people? Because a lot of people have disagreed with the fact that they're being ripped off, that he didn't necessarily create or play a part in the new Kuzma deal in the first place. And we haven't been ripping them off. We've just been playing the game that's been set up for everyone.
I agree.
But if it works, they might buy into what he's been saying.
I agree with you. Remember, it's very divided in the United States.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very divided. It's almost 50-50. And you look at the number of people who think that Trump is the devil incarnate, and it's almost half the population. And then you look at the other half, and they think he's, the second coming of God or something.
Right.
And it's not only divided in that sense, it's divided in the sense of class. It's the Rust Belt states. Yeah. The data is very clear on this. The people that lost their jobs, Ohio and rural Pennsylvania and Illinois and Michigan. Yeah. You saw those auto workers in his press conference. They were up there cheering Donald Trump. Hey, you're bringing jobs back. We lost our jobs, So, the coasts are where the professors and hedge funds people and, very privileged people are uniformly against Trump.
Yeah.
You look at the interior of the states, especially in the rural communities, the working class communities, he has much greater support. Right. So it just depends on how it turns out. If he's able to bring off deals before the midterm, then he won't pay a price. If he doesn't, he could lose the midterm elections.
Professor, I only have like 20 seconds left, but I did want to ask you, if people are watching at home, they just want to know what they should do. if they're invested in stocks? Is it the do nothing approach still?
I would say postpone any consumer purchases, big ticket, don't buy any cars, don't do any rentals, don't buy a house for now until the dust settles. On the stocks, if the stocks keep going down, I would start looking
Pick
at
up
buying.
more? Buy more?
Buy low, sell high.
That's right.
Good time to buy. Well, that's what Warren Buffett is saying. So
That's
who
right.
can argue with Warren Buffett, right?
True. Professor Ian Lee, thank you for this. Always appreciate it.
Thanks very much.